Video 14. October 28, 2010. In this conversation, he made some strange revelations that we decided to include. My friend, I have a strange notice. We've been on Venus and Mars for some research of sun activity and climate change. I personally had never been there for any mission, just flew over a beam. But we had a strange surprise orbiting. We found a settlement of reptilians there on Mars. We consulted the Chithak research base there, of small humanoids, and they said a large reptilian movement has been in the area for nearly 8 years. Because they do not have relationships with the reptilian race. They did not give importance to the subject since the reptilians are a sovereign race and can explore the planet too. We saw some of your compatriots there too, Earthlings working with them. With the cover-up of the reptilians, a sovereign race, the Terrains were able to set foot on Mars, even if you do not yet have permission to do so. From the size of the facilities, it seems they are intending to develop a great colony there. They are working hard there in the assembly of many installations. The transport spaceships stationed were all reptilians, but we saw lots of heavy trucks and heavy equipment like those used here. We already reported about it to our command, and they replied, telling us that the reptilians had already informed the establishment of a colonial base on Mars to Community Galactica a few years ago. There is practically a big city already assembled, with power units, teletransporters, and facilities of all kinds, water tanks, atmosphere generators, central air conditioners, large warehouses, and a large residential area. We also detected large underground facilities covered by large domes. And they started 2 more foundations and excavations in other craters nearby which already have all streets and areas demarcated. Your government should have some agreement with them, for sure. The reptilians would have no interest in building a base in that location were it not for an agreement ordering it. It seems that this colonial base will serve very well to host some important Earthlings for a period of bad weather here on your planet. With respect to this colony on Mars that you mentioned, is there an atmosphere there? Do you know the composition? Yes, there is an atmosphere on Mars, and now they are pumping more greenhouse gases to increase the effect of heat, radiation protection, and atmospheric pressure. There are atmosphere generators that are used specifically for that. In the colony observed, there is a fully functioning unit. The main supplier of gas to the reptilians is a depot station on Iapetus. These gases are measured by the generator of atmosphere at the time of teleportation. It is a rapid process of equilibrium for colonization. Mars is small, easily adaptable to current technology. The atmospheric composition is very different to that stated by your scientists. Today it is approximate 45% nitrogen, 37% carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide 0.1%, 16% oxygen, 1.5% argon, 0.5% other noble gases and water vapor. In a few months, it will be comfortable to breathe with the increase of oxygen in the bottom layer because now it still requires the use of gas masks to help breathing, but it's changing very fast. You may notice that Mars is getting brighter in the night sky. This is due to the fact that its atmosphere is increasing the volume of gases. Mythi, in your opinion, what do you think they want to do? Apparently, they intend to separate a select few who, after performing a
cleaning up
on the planet Earth by the army that remains here in the bunkers, will return to rearrange the possible survivors and install a new government for the entire planet. This is only an opinion, but since all this is being done secretly, so, I think it is the most plausible possibility. And what do you believe they could do to implement this?
Cleaning up.
If you know something, please tell us outright. We know that your governments are deliberately polluting the atmosphere with various artificial infectious agents and other substances. It may cause chain reactions to dramatically reduce the fauna, mammals, birds, fish, and insects of the planet, causing food shortages. Plants of consumption will be affected only by increased solar radiation in the plantations, as they already know. So they need not worry to exterminate them artificially. The only viable seeds for planting would be those that are stored in 4 huge underground inviolable facilities, that are thousands of tons, under their strict control. Do not take any medicine provided by your government like vaccines or related. Do not accept to be taken to any location tied to your particular governments. Avoid eating foods that have appeared tampered with in any way. Boiling does not work because some artificial organisms resistant to high temperatures are not affected. Try every day to take a glass of water with a teaspoon of baking soda to make the pH of your body slightly basic. As artificial agents benefit from acidity to operate electrically. It's been a quiet war. You're in it without realizing it and without knowing that you are the targets. They intend to use the next great natural events as camouflage, artificially increasing the consequences. They may even try to convince you that you are under alien attack, forged by flyby of reptilian spacecrafts over cities, to justify acts of exception. They intend to keep the armies living in already prepared underground bases, to take the necessary steps to finalize the
process of cleanup,
evacuation, decontamination, and the appropriate isolation of bodies of humans and animals in graves. We do not know details of the agenda of your government with the reptilians, but it seems they are at the final steps. There are creations of animals for consumption of various breeds, mammals, and birds, confined to underground facilities, with thousands of selected animals. These facilities are under the custody and maintenance of the military strategy in several countries. Your governments are stockpiling thousands of tons of dehydrated food, frozen, canned. Millions of liters of clean water, fuel, all kinds of vehicles, aircrafts, ships, submarines, and all sorts of weapons, including an entire large collection of new satellites and launch rockets, as well as all the peripherals necessary to reboot the system when the dust settles. Everything is reinforced underground to withstand all that can happen, and in regions previously mapped. Neither earthquakes, tsunamis, nor radiation can destroy these deposits. I am being as direct as possible, as you requested. Mike, on your British atomic submarine that ran aground in trouble you told me about, its navigation system is very similar to the nuclear weapon missiles, and is sometimes turned off by mistake, causing problems in warships. I am assured that Pleiadians neutralized this and many other of your fighter planes with nuclear weapons that are on land, which also may present similar problems. Your governments know that other people like us, Pleiadians and others, are here to monitor the process. And they will not invest more money fixing what is being neutered or produce more nuclear weapons. The tactic is more subtle for the implementation of plans for Earth. In this period of tribulation, you may have regionalized conflicts between military and common people and, of course, some nations against any other specifics, especially in your region of the Middle East. What is the technology behind an artificial self-replicating virus? This technology is based on alien nanoactuators. For a long time, your scientists have been researching the nanoactuators found in aliens crashed on Earth but only had access to such technology a few years ago, provided by Reptilians. We have developed various counteractive medical treatments that use the proactive nanocomponents to balance the biological system. The nanocomponent-based agents that are being used on your planet are in agreement with reptilian scientists, who provided the raw materials, the microcrystals that act as
processor functions.
The counteractive measure of these methods is a decontamination process where body scanning equipment breaks down the crystals by resonance of certain specific frequencies. Naturally, your governments have also obtained this equipment, but will not make them available to the public. In addition to the decontamination process, there is also a method by way of an implant of a crystal set that burns nanoactuator crystals not listed in its database, and works as a permanent antivirus. The elements we have identified by our collection in your atmosphere fall into three groups of actuators. One acts as a synthesizer of matter, converting organic material into inorganic matter, growing randomly in tissues, forming a grid that is inorganic and prevents muscle movements. Another element acts as a frequency generator, allowing them to capture an agglomeration of citizens, as well as its exact location. The third is scheduled to deliver electrical pulses to the nervous system, blocking the brain signals and replacing them with random signals, causing incoordination and visual disease when activated by an external specific frequency. Look, without body scanning equipment, these nanoactuators are indestructible. All three are detected by finding the acid medium used to communicate and energize, an acid present in all the same regions of the collection. Other elements such as barium, aluminum oxide, and others are inhibitors of lung function. These methods are medium-term. Direct confrontation is the fastest way to solve the problems of your elite soon. Please, remember what I said last encounter, you may have regionalized conflicts between military and common people. And of course some nation against some other, especially in your region of the Middle East. Mike asks, that crater in Siberia, do you know how that probe was placed there? Did the probe itself open the hole on impact, or was it placed? Mike, a hole was punched in the ground before that equipment was placed. There are devices that break rocks through a type of ultrasound, and the rocks are removed from the site by anti-gravitational effect. These devices are used to open holes, building underground bases, and mining. After placement of the equipment, the rocks are then restored, and the excess was apparently arranged like a crater. If the probe had been hurled to impact, at more than 1,000 tons, the rocks would have been thrown away from the place, and the hole would have been miles larger, like a real crater.